Hello, you beautiful gods and goddesses. This is Tawanda Van, Celestial Earth Goddess, and today I will be giving you a message from the Goddess Power Oracle deck in reference to Mercury Retrograde, which is now in Scorpio. Mercury Retrograde will end on the 20th of this month. Now, there will also be a post shadow period for about 2 weeks, so you still want to be a little careful. Now, I'm using what's called the Rose Spread. I adopted it from another deck. It's the Eight Coins Tattoo Tarot deck. It's I use the spread because it's very easy to go by and it's a little more straightforward. Okay, as we know, the sign Scorpio, it is a fixed water sign which is feminine in nature, and it is about death and transformations. So, during this retrograde period, there will be a lot of truth telling and resurrections of people shedding away their shadow side and going into their, not just their light side, but their light and dark. Because I consider the shadow like a shell of a soul versus a part of the dark side. Because to me, darkness has depth, whereas the shadow does not, as well as the light has depth. Because you have light and dark, and you have to embrace both to really get in tune with yourself. Excuse me. Okay. The middle card will be the focal point. Then it's going to go in a clockwise from Mayat all the way to Hestia. And then I have the outlier card here, which is what I consider the overall outcome of everything. Now, because these cards are very big, I'm going to kind of zoom in on each card to make sure you see it. Okay, now, in the middle in the middle of the deck, we have Metis, which is wisdom. Card number 35, adding up to 8. 8 usually deals with change and challenges. Now, as we know, wisdom is about not only learning from your experience, but also being able to apply it to your present and your future life. So live, learn, and do better. That's the gist of it all. Now, we're going to go to Maya, which is about truth. There's 42 principles that people tend to hone in on. But I also learned that there's over 100 principles that she also deals with. And the 10 commandments actually, I'm very sure they came from the 42 principles of Mayat, because they're pretty much the same damn thing. Okay, so with wisdom, you should gain truth, and that's definitely what Scorpio is about: shedding light on a situation and just seeing it for what the hell it is, good, bad, or indifferent. Now, once you're living in your truth, now you go to Lilith. Lilith, in the book, it calls her the Jewish goddess, but she's originally a Sumerian goddess, which, from my learning, Judaism pretty much came from that culture. Judaism is an adaptation, just like Christianity and Islam. I call them the religions of Abraham. But anyway, she is a Sumerian goddess, and of course the Bible vilified her because good old patriarchy and misogyny makes her look like the a feminazi, as people like to call her. But actually, she's just about having women stand in their power. Now, this deck can apply to men or women because we all have feminine energies just like we all have masculine energies. Now, back to the lecture at hand. Now, Lilith is about independence. In order for you to be able to be interdependent and being able to interact with others, you have to have a sense of independence. You have to know yourself. You have to form a true relationship with you, the soul. So the human and the soul have to become one, and you have to know thyself. So once you know who you are and you're able to stand on your own, you're able to have interdependent relationships with others, not codependent, not dependent. because we're not here to be each other's crutches. We're here to uplift and empower each other. And just because you're a part of a team doesn't mean you're not supposed to be able to be one with yourself. So you can't be a team until you complete who you are. And that's the name of the game. Now, that leads us to communion. Now, communion is being able to interact with others and as well as co-create. Because none of us are here by ourselves. So even though you're alone, you still have someone or someones to engage with and work with in your life. Because you can't stay in hermit mode forever. So once you develop that independence, here's communion. That's you being one with others as well as the energies of the universe on Mother Earth and outside Mother Earth. And as you can see, this is Ishtar. She is the goddess of fertility, growth, and some other stuff I can't think of right now, unfortunately. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Metis is the goddess of, she's a Titan. She's the goddess of prudence and wisdom, hence wisdom being under her name. Now, Ishtar is also associated with Easter, which makes sense because that's the time of creation and growth. So she embodies that energy. Some people even pronounce her name Easter, but that's neither here nor there. Now, once you've developed interdependence and you're able to commune with others as well as the divinity outside yourself, because you are one with the divinity within, we go to Hera, which is alliance. Now, this is mainly about making sure you get with the right people. You have communion with people that are able to be conducive to your well-being, and you're able to be conducive to their well-being. Everybody plays a role in each other's upliftment and empowerment. Now, interestingly enough, well, we know with Hera, she was the wife of Zeus, and Zeus was not the best husband to be with. He was a great leader, but a horrible husband. And that alliance she created gave her a lot of grief and heartache. And unfortunately, it made her a bitter bitch. Let's just be real with the shit. So, to make sure that you're living your purpose and you are being the best you can be, you have to make sure you surround yourself with the right people. And interestingly enough, Hera and Metis have a common denominator, and that's Zeus. Because Metis was Zeus' first wife. And she was a great wife, as it was said, and he loved her from what I know. She's the mother of Athena. Now, interestingly enough, he was told, I guess by Oracle, that the son that she was carrying was going to overthrow him. So, of course, he did the same thing that his father tried to do to him and his father's father tried to do to him. Because if most people know the story, Cronus is Zeus's father. He was also a Titan. And he had to overthrow Cronus. Cronus had to overthrow his dad, which I believe is Uranus. If I got that right. But anyway, just a little backstory. When I know information, I try to give backstories about these goddesses. Unfortunately, her being the one carrying the child that was going to be his successor, he couldn't handle that, because I guess when you're immortal, it's hard to give up the reins. Hell, it's hard for us to give up reins when we know it's time to pass the torch to the younger generation, because a lot of y'all motherfuckers should have been stepped down. Let's keep that kosher. Anyway, so they aligned themselves with the wrong man. He actually made her turn into he didn't make her. He tricked her into turning into a fly, and he ate her ass because he didn't want the son that they were going to have to take over his spot. And it said that she's in his body. Actually, she was pregnant with Athena when she was in his body, and the story about Athena coming out full grown. But anyway, she's the reason why he also is a great leader. He became a better leader actually because of her wisdom and prudence, because that's, her specialty. But, you know, unfortunately, her experience did not help her out. But it's here to help us out. Be mindful of the company you keep, pretty much. Now we go from Hera to Persephone. I believe Persephone is the goddess of spring. Her mother is Demeter. Now, with her story, the reason why inexperience is up under hers is because her lack of experience led her to make a deal that she did not want. It really did not serve her very well. It wasn't a horrible deal, but it wasn't the best deal nonetheless. Which, with Mercury Retrograde, you definitely have to be careful about contracts you sign. Anything you should try not to get into any contracts during Mercury Retrograde, because the shit tends to backfire after the fact. That's why they say don't buy any major equipment, any cars, a home if you could help it. So any major decisions that you have to make, electronics. So a lot of y'all probably get stuff during Mercury Retrograde and you end up having to take it back, which is annoying. But anyway, do your due diligence, because inexperience can get you in a position that you may not be able to get out of. And with her, she got kidnapped by Hades, the god of the underworld, also known as Pluto to the Romans. Romans copied from the Greeks, Greeks copied from the Africans, so on and so forth. Anyway, she was in the underworld, and the deal that ended up making her have to live there for half a year is she ended up eating 6 seeds from a pomegranate fruit. And the saying goes, anytime you ingest something from the underworld, you're going to be tied to it. So in most cases, people would have to stay there forever. But I guess because she's a goddess, she got a little leadway. Because if there was no leadway, her mother, Demeter, was going to make sure everything on the earth died. Because Demeter was responsible for things growing. I guess she's kind of like what you would call Mother Nature. She was the overseer of Mother Earth, making sure everything was growing. There was food, trees, birds, basically life on Earth. Because when when Persephone was taken, she got depressed and she didn't tend to the earth. Therefore, the earth was dying. So, to make sure the earth stays alive for the most part, Persephone gets to stay up here half the year. She has to go down to the underworld for the other half. But the whole point is, make sure you cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure you do your research, your due diligence, so you don't end up in a fucked up situation. Now we come to Hestia, which is the goddess of the hearth. And that's about home. And this is more about being home with yourself. Being, which is where the independence, which kind of ties into the independence. But all of this comes together to say that if you go through these steps in life and live, you gain wisdom, you make sure you live in your truth, and you're able to be one with who you are, be one with others, and when you get one with others, be one with the right people. So have great discernment. And in order to have great discernment, you have to really, really, really look at the situation and be able to pick it and make sure everything is aligned. And with that, you are truly at home. You're at home with yourself. Therefore, no matter where you go, you're able to truly always be home, because you carry yourself wherever you go. Now, the outlier is beauty. Beauty in a deeper sense, not in a superficial sense. This is Benzai 10. She's the Japanese goddess of beauty. This is about finding beauty in life, period. Finding beauty within you and outside of you. You know, not just what you see, but what you feel. You know, because as the saying goes, life is what you make it. And if you want a great life, you have to actually strive for a fucking great life. You can't expect something that you don't believe in or that you don't feel. So, you know, there you go with that. So that is the reading, everyone. And I hope I tied everything together like I was supposed to, so you can completely understand it and it flowed properly. And hopefully I was eloquent enough and profound enough for this to resonate and stick. So, until next time, you beautiful gods and goddesses, I bid you adieu.